How about now? Yes, I think it's okay now. So, very sorry about that. I'm going to start over. So, hello, this is Syboulette, and today we are going to make a chair. So, this is the chair we are going to make. I chose it because it's very simple, so that way we are going to be able to do a start to finish tutorial where we will start from scratch in Blender. I will show you how I modelize a chair like this, and then I will show you how to unwrap it, and then we are going to texture it in Substance Painter, and then I will show you how to assemble everything in Sims 4 Studio, and we are going to test it in game. This is a work in progress. So I'm going to start in Blender 2.76. The best way to keep the proportion is to import an object from Sims 4. And because we don't want to move the animation, I usually create first my chair in Sims 4 Studio. So here I choose Create 3D Mesh, click on Object, and I will choose a chair. So in the Sims, the living chair and art chair are the same. So I just choose a living chair, like this one, for example. Or maybe I take a fancy one so the comfort will be better. This one. And then I am going to name it. So this is going to be Livestream armchair. So this is the chair. As you can see, you will have 3 mesh cuts. Sometimes they have only 2 and sometimes there is 3. So there are 2 shadows because there are one especially for the foot of the chair. So we are going to export this mesh. I will call it original. And when I open it, someone asked me in my previous tutorial, how do I change the view? Because you can see here we have perspective and now we don't have one. And this is, in French, is orthonormé, so I don't know how to translate this in English, but basically there's no perspective. So for example, when you are in front view with the 1 key, I will put you the short key here. I put you the short key here so you can see which keypad I hit here. So if you go in front view, then you have a perfect without any deformation of the mesh. So 5 to go in perspective and 5 to go back to orthonormal. So because we are going to make a chair for the Sims that we be able to sit on it and all the animation will fit on it, because we can change the animation where the Sims are going to put his butt, but usually it's better not to change it, so then it will work with any item you will create, any item from other 3D creators. So I will keep the proportion of that chair. So let's have a look first to our chair and study how exactly it is made. So we have 2 pillows that will be at the end, because first we are going to start with the frame. So this is quite a complicated shape if we want to make it in one piece. I don't advise to try to make everything in one piece, even if in reality it will be maybe make with the same object. It will be either for the UV unwrapping, either for the modeling. It will be easier if we just make cubes, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an arch to follow the arm, and then I'm going to put some cubes all around to do this frame. So first I'm going to remove all the lamps and camera and rigs because I don't need it. and I'm going to go back to my solid view. I don't need also the shadows. So for now, I'll keep this one. So I hit Shift A and I'm going to add a cube. If I hit 7, I go in top view and I'm going to reduce it, and because I don't see it anymore, I will hit Z to have the wireframe view. So I want to be maybe this size, maybe it's bigger, this size. We can always come back later. And let's see, maybe here. So now I'm going in the side view by hitting 3, and I'm going to hit SY so I can size it on that axis. So I'm going to hide this for now. And now I want to create, I want to go down. So there is 2 ways to do this. I could either add a ring and then extrude, but then this is not very nice for texturing. It will be more complicated. So the way I'm doing it is more hello. I will choose those both edges. I will go inside view and I will hit SY. So I will have the perfect diagonal. So perfect diagonal will be like you will have no steps at all. And I click. And then I select those 2 faces. I go back to side view and I hit E to extrude and I go down. And to make those flats, I will hit SZ0, which means they will be aligned on the same zero, how to say, on the same Z axis. So that's basically our arm. So maybe it's a little too, let's see the original shape. So maybe this one is not deep enough. And I hit A to select everything. I will put right on the floor. And that's better. Okay. Hi, little Dika. So nice of you to come. So nice of all of you to come. I'm super happy to have many people coming to see my tutorial. So I'm going to hide it again. So now a shortcut, because I could create another cube and start over, but because I'm super lazy, I just hit Alt right click here, and I will duplicate by hitting Shift D and Z, and it will go down. So to make this straight, same as before, I will align it on the Y axis. So SY0, SY0. And because I don't want this to be inside my wood, I will SY and make it shorter. And now I remember little Dika telling me about this tool, which is the magnet tool, snap tool. So for example, if I had this, I could just hit this snap edge, select this one, hit G, Y, and hit my edge, and it will snap to it. It's super easy. G, Y, snap. And don't forget to remove it, because then you will do some crazy thing with your stuff. So anyway, so this is gonna be lower, and because this is gonna be the support for the pillow, I probably use this to see where the pillow is, so I can adjust it to it. So our pillow will be thinner than this one, so I probably put here like this. For zooming in, it's the scroll on the mouse, the middle scroll. There. So I move it again. And now, because this is symmetrical, I'm just going to add a modifier. And I choose mirror. And because it doesn't work, I probably need to add an empty. Sometimes it works right away and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't always know why. So I will go back in object mode and I hit Shift A, empty sphere, doesn't matter. And now when I go back to my mirror modifier, I will choose the empty and ta-da, I will have the mirror of my item. And because in reality it's never exactly the same size, I will choose this one by hitting L and I will resize it a little. So I will hit S and I will hit Shift Y, because Shift will keep the Y-axis length. So I just reduce it a little like this. Looks a little more realistic. Now I need to add those frame here, front and back. So I just go back to my object and I will duplicate this one. So I will go in top view so I can see exactly what I'm doing, and I will hit Shift D to duplicate it, and right click and then Air 90. So because I still have the mirror active, I can either apply it before or I will have to use the clipping here, but in our case I probably apply it before. I can't do it in edit mode, he's saying, so there. Now I go back. I just want one and Shift D and top view Air 90 there. So one other thing too, if you go in wireframe, the point here is telling us that this is a face, and because this face will never be seen in any view in the sim, I recommend to remove it just simply. Because for two reasons. First, it will save you polygons. Well, it's 2 polygons, but it's still 2 polygons. And also for the unwrapping, it will be easier to unwrap this if you don't have it. So any face you don't see at all in your object, I usually just remove it. So this face is selected and I hit delete and only faces. And I can do it on all of them. And this one too. So now I will use Little Dika favorite tool again, meaning I will toggle the snap tool with the edge. I will hit GX and select the edge I want to join my edge, and this one too, GX and snap. It's super easy. Is it the same height? Yes, it is. So this one will be also, so Shift D to make it here too. Yes. And the one here. Shift D and Y. Can go in top view so we can see better. G, Y. And there you go. We have the frame. So before continuing with the pillows, I probably unwrap this and also apply my bevel. Bevel is this thing you will have, because in real life we don't have that sharp edges. So what we are going to do first before the bevel, first I can delete this empty, I don't need it anymore. And I will need to apply all the modification I made to make sure the bevel will be used nicely. For example, I show you. If I choose this and apply my bevel by hitting Ctrl B, hello, cat sims, welcome. By hitting Ctrl B, you can see that it's unequally applied. Like on the corner, it will be more, I don't know, it's not equal. So go back in object mode, hit Ctrl A and apply rotation and scale. And now when I'm going back, it's better. So I will select everything because I want bevel everywhere. Usually I will select where I want my bevel, but for this object, I want bevel everywhere. So Ctrl B, there. And I will also apply a sharp everywhere because I want everything to be super sharp. And to make sure when I will export in Blender, when I will import in Sims 4 Studio, I will also apply a edge split modifier. I will probably increase it later when I will do the pillow, but for now we are going to let it at 30 degrees. So for the unwrapping, because this is wood, it has fibers, and fibers has a direction, so it will be easier for us to apply the texture if all the island of our UV map is in the same orientation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap this item by keeping all the piece of wood on the same direction. So for those who doesn't know what unwrapping means, it's basically imagine this object is paper and I want to flat out all the structure to apply the texture in 2D on the 3D item. So it's like kind of origami. So the nice thing with the bevel is like it creates also an easy shape to unwrap. So I will remove the sharp because we don't see much what we are doing. So I will select all the ends of my wood like this, and I will mark him. It will create a red line, and that piece will be cut, separated by to the others. Then by clicking Alt and this edge, it will select the whole loop. So I will select both loop. Actually no, because I want only one. So I will hit here and control click. The control click, for example, if I hit right click here, I can hit shift right, but then it takes a lot of time. So if I hit control click, it will select the shorter path to from where I clicked before, the white line, to the next one. So if I want to select the whole path from here, I will select this, and it will select all my path. So I mark sim, and same on the other side. And then on my cubes, I just, it's not really cubes, but you understand. one each and one each, and mark seams. And now, because I already applied rotation and scale, I will select everything and unwrap. And you can see it works. So now I want to also introduce you to a new plugin I just downloaded 3 days ago, which is amazing. It's called UV Squares, and it will transform any shape you will have that are kind of rectangular, but not really rectangular. If you wanted to have it super straight, you can select and snap and it will make it super straight. It's very helpful. Sometimes by default the unwrapping is angle based, but you can also try conformal. In this case it's awful, so I'll go back to what I did before. It was better. So now to organize better this UV, I usually hit Ctrl P. Ctrl P will reorganize automatically the UV map inside the UV area. So as you can see, all my UV islands are now in the same direction, which will make the texturing more easier. So now about the pillow. So let's go back to our image. So we have a square here, like a thin square, and then we have this pillow here, which is more rectangular. So we will start with this one first. I'm going to add a new cube here, and with my top view I'm going to choose the right size, then move it no, probably over the frame, and this one a little over too. Then I hit 1 to go in the front view, and now I can bring back my original mesh because I want the top of my pillow to be exactly the same as the EA item. So when my seam will sit, it will have the butt at the good position. And then the one from the bottom will be more here. So in real life, this will need something under, obviously, for the pillows not to fall, and when people will sit, you know, not on the floor. But because in the sim when we be playing, we won't really see it. So you can either add it if you really want to add some details, or you can draw it. Usually it's what EAs do. If you do Maxis Match, for example, to add the detail by drawing directly on the model. But in my case, I'm just going to leave it that way. We just imagine that there is maybe some, I don't know how to call it, some, you know, metal screw, not screw. Anyway, so now this is a bit sharp, so we are going to smooth it a lot. First, when we go back to our model, we can see that this edge is more beveled than the others. So I'm going to select only this one and hit Ctrl B. And with my the scroll button, I can add some ring in it. So I will choose maybe 3, 4. And then I can choose all the others, and I can add a smaller bevel with some rings there. Now same for the sides. So to select the whole face, I hit Alt and right click. Slats. Yes, maybe slats. I was more thinking about the metal helix shapes, but slats works too. And hit Control B, and it's not much, this one. There. Actually, we can see that there's not really something in it, so it's probably very discrete. There. So because the hole now is too big, I select the two faces and I hit Control plus to select all around one face, one row face like this, for example, plus and minus, minus, plus. So I can S and X to size it. Oops, sorry, SX. There. Yeah, this is not nice. So I'm going to active the proportional editing to when I will size it down or up, it will take in consideration everything around. So you can see here, if I scroll, I can change the influence around. So then I can move only the side. You know what? I will separate this. I will remove this and I will recreate. I will remove also the frame. So if you hit H, it will hide it. So we can bring it back later. So I select both H in front. Tuk. Yes, tuk tuk is my word to say, like, I don't know how you say in English, that's kind of hop, 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 hop. There. So just in front, F, and then it's actually better to do like this because usually in 3D we are supposed to keep all the polygons quad. It's better for texturing, it's better for rendering. So when you have a polygon that have many vertices, it's usually not that good. So I'm supposed to do this most of the time. So now I can hit Alt H, so I can bring back my frame. And that will make my editing easier. There, better. So because we have an edge split at 30 degrees, we have those lines because everything under 30 degrees will be sharp edge. So I will put it higher, maybe 60, and hit smooth to see the results. So now we have a more smooth pillow for our chair. So I think it's nice for the bottom pillow. Everything else we are going to do, we are going by texturing it. So now we're going to create the upper pillow. So I'm going to hit Shift A, cube, go back to my top view, and then I will move where I want it. Okay, it's here. I will remove the proportional editing, and then I will hit L to select my shape and GZ to go in up and up. So let's see how it goes. Maybe like this is good. So I can bring back again my my model, but as you can see, this is going in my frame, so I probably want to put it here. And this is not very important, because if you observe how the Sims sit, they usually sit very in front of the seat. They never go back, or they never lie on the back of the chair, so this don't really matter. So you can choose whatever you want. All right, and if we observe this, this time the bevel on all sides, it's kind of the same, except these 4 edges. So I'm going to select all of them, but L. But then with the edge selection, I'm going to remove those 4, because I'm going to do them separately. So Control B, and I will put a height very deep like this, even more. So you can always keep an eye for the polygons you are using, especially if you're doing maxi smudge and you don't want to go too high. Usually, if you do something for TSR, for example, for the Sims resource, they ask the items to be 2000 polygon maximum per tile. So for chair, I will not go above 2000. 2000 is already a lot. Like a year ago, it was 1200. So they raise it a little because probably computers are better now. But if you really want to stay low poly, I would probably advise to stay at 100 and 2000 maximum per tile. So this is looking good. Let's see. Now what we can see is doing this kind of create 2 more shape here, and the original is more flat. So I'm going to bring back my proportional editing and SZ to put it more flat. With the front view, it's always better to see what I'm doing. There. And from the top, it's okay. So now I can add some ring loops to add some more organic shape, because we can see, for example, that here it's a little lower, but also we can create some this is my cat. Hello. There's an intruder. And he's playing with my screen. Sorry. Yeah, it's the cute moment. Can't concentrate. Anyway, so to add some loops, ring loops, I will hit Ctrl R here and scroll on the mouse to add more. So I will probably add 5. So now if I click here and I keep the proportional editing, and then I hit GZ, you can see that I can move the rings I just added, but this shape of my brush is not very nice, so I probably take a sphere one. There. Or not. Or you can try whatever fits what you're trying to do. So usually what I'm doing is that I just move around a bit so it's not completely symmetrical. There. Also, we don't really see it here, but it's probably more curvy on the front. So I will also move this one like this. I can also add 2 rings like this. Maybe this is a little too strong. Yes, better. And probably last one here. So I can create that little shape here at the corner. And then I will hit and select those edges because I didn't bevel them. I bevel all of them, but not those one. I don't need much. I probably just create one like this. So see what I created. This is a monster. This is what we call an n-gon. N-gon is like not polygon, not quad. It's like this is not really good. What if I create? I don't really know how to get rid of them. It's not good. Ah, I know. I will select this one. There. Better. Because the angle will obviously be difficult for texturing, but also will with that that small polygons, it can create some really weird shading and shadows. So you want to avoid them at all costs. So now it's better, and we are still under the 2000 poly. So I think we are done for the modeling. So now we are going to unwrap the pillows. The pillows are quite easy because the best way to unwrap is to actually keep the same seam that you will have in real life. So when you will have the fabric stick close to each other, it will create natural seams. It's quite easy. So I'm going to hide the frame so it doesn't bother me. H. And I will select, for example, here. So Control right click to select the whole loop and Shift to select the second one. And then I probably going to put a seam line at the back so I don't see it. Probably one here too. I could keep this one shape, but Have a nice day too, and thank you for coming. But the larger the island, the more precise the texture will be. So sometimes it's better to cut it. So same for the pillow. If I look at my shape, we can see that there's probably a seam here and one probably under it. So I am going to choose this. And here. No, I'm not sure. No, I will probably more choose directly those. That will be easier. And I will mark seam and I will hide the pillow so I can go search for my under seam here. Mark seams. So Alt H to bring back. So now I will select only the pillows and hit E to unwrap. And this didn't work. Maybe. Sorry, I have to redo this because I think I didn't click. Mark seams. Better. So now we can use again my super nice new plugin to make this very aligned. There. Because you will see that when we are going to apply the texture, it will make the lines very straight. And maybe I can use it on here too. We will see. We can still go back if it doesn't, if we're not happy with how we unwrapped the chair, we can still go back to it and change it. So this is only the pillow. So if I select everything, I will now have the legs. So because I want to have the legs less precise than the fabric, because the fabric of the chair is more important to my point of view, I will make the pillows a little bigger, and then I will select everything and hit Ctrl P. And Ctrl P will reorganize all my UV islands in my UV map automatically accordingly to the proportion of the item and the island I already set in the UV map. Don't forget to add margin, because if not, the texture will cover each other and you will have weird lines on your item. So the minimum is 0.005. And I also recommend to untoggle rotate, because as you can see before, we took the time to align our wood parts all in the same direction, so the wood texture will have the same fiber. So if you don't, the program will reorganize the island where it's the best, but then it will not take in consideration what we did before. So I untoggle rotate. So now we are done with the modeling. Last touch we can do is, first we can remove that one, we don't need anyone anymore. And for the two shadows, so you can either edit it if you want, it's completely your choice. If you want to do so, you will have to open the shadows here, that the default shadows from EA. If you export the item, it will be automatically in the list here. It's whatever diffuse or 1 or 0, it's all the same. So you can change the shape and make it bigger to fit your mesh. If you want to see the result, you can click here and hit, nope, neither. So you will have to create a new material to do that. But in my case, I don't like the shadows, so I just make them super small, and then I will hide it inside my furnitures, so we never see them again. Sometimes I even move it here, so even if by any chance we see the little square, well, there won't be anything in it. So same for this one, I can just delete it and I will duplicate this one instead. I will have to change the cut. So the first one is shadow is 0, then the second one is shadow 2, it's 1, and my mesh will be 2. So now I can save as chair. If I import in Sim4 Studio, you can see that it works perfectly, but we are missing now a texture. So we are going to do this in Substance Painter, which I like very much. So if you don't have Substance Painter, I just published a video showing how to do it in Blender. It's faster and I think easier in Substance Painter, even if you do have to learn the software. But in Blender, you can do exactly the same, you will have exactly the same results, and Blender is free. So that's always nice. So I will create a new file. This is my work in progress of my project. I'm doing a macaron coffee shop. I usually choose 2048, even if it's not the final resolution, because it's always better to have small definition. It weighs less, and also it will load faster for people using your content. But to create the texture, you can go higher, and then we are going to reduce it in Photoshop. And moreover, Photoshop is better to reduce the size of the PNG and all images than Substance Painter, which is very bad. So before doing this, I will have to export my item in OBJ. So I will select my item and hit export OBJ and selection only, and usually I don't put right material, so I will have all my UV map on the same layer, and I export it on chair OBJ. So there, okay. So here I have my chair, and here I have my map. So we are first going to start with the wood. So if we go back to our model, we can see it's a very light wood. It has very discrete fibers, no knot. Yes, I will probably do other item, because for now I want to cover the basic, so I choose very simple shapes item. So next time I'm doing an item, I can go faster, because that cup takes a lot more time to do, and I can't put it in 2 hours if I have to explain every step of what I'm doing. So what I intend to do is, because those are the first item, I explain all the steps, and then later I will go maybe a bit faster on some steps, so it doesn't last 4 hours video, because then I will have no one watching my 4-hour live stream. Anyway, so for this, I'm going to use this ash wood texture. So I just drag and drop on my item, and we can see the fiber are already in the right direction, so that's good, but I don't want the wood on my pillow. So to remove them, I will add a black mask, so now it disappears. And then by clicking on this tool, I will bring back the wood. So if I select on the cube here, it will select all the mesh parts. I click, and by white that will be revealing. So I choose all the wood parts. Then we can see that the texture for now, it's a little too big. So if we want it to be more realistic, I probably scale it up. So 3 might be a good number. I also don't want that many wood variation and contrast. And plain wood is also more likely to what we have. Yes. One thing I don't like either, it's how shiny it is. You can see here, this is super shiny, as if there are some varnished, I think it's called in English, varnished. So I don't like it, and there is no preset, so I can choose this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to override it with my own roughness. So I'm going to create a fill layer, and I will remove everything except the roughness. And because it's on top of it, it will be the roughness on my item. So I just lower down. So it have still a little bit, but not too much, because I don't like when it's too shiny. It doesn't look good. So that's it for the wood, very easy. And now we are going to do the fabric. So I think I already have a fabric for what I intend to do, because I did something very similar a short time ago. So just remember how it was called. I think it was gabardine something. Ah, this one. This one. So for now, it doesn't look very nice. So we are going to change it. First, we are going to rotate it. So the line are the same as this one. So, oops, there. So in the UV transformation, I can change the rotation. So here, it looks better. I can also change the scale. Here you can see that the fact that I use the plugin square UV, and now it's kind of deforming it, and I'm not sure I want that. It looked better before. So what I'm going to do, because I want to change the UV of my item, I already exported in Substance Painter. So I go back in Blender. I will remove this. I will select the part I want back. I will hit E so I can recreate it. And small. And then I select everything so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to save and export again in OBJ. And back in Substance Painter, I'm going to hit on Edit Project Configuration, Select, and I will reselect my item. And it will automatically replace my objects. And if you didn't change too much what you do, it will also reapply everything you did before. If you change too much, it will probably be lost and there will be probably some mistake. But because here I only change this UV island, then it's fine, it works perfect. And you can see now that the texture is nicer. So putting everything in square is not always the best choice. So now we'll apply mask on this texture, so I can choose only the pillows, like this. I will also increase the scale just a little, maybe 2, maybe 1.5, yes. And change the color. So here we can see that we have 2 colors because it's probably a mix between the two, probably a darker one and a lighter one. So if we want to stay in the same spirit of our item, I will probably make one very white, but not white, because too white in the Sims is not pretty, because it's a very, very bright, especially when you are in some world like Sulani, where the bright are like so bright it literally burn your eye. And this one I will put it maybe a lighter page. So now what we can see is that the relief of our texture is too strong. So it's kind of very difficult to read and doesn't look realistic. So we are going to smooth this and soften this. So I'm going to reduce the height range so it's softer. And I probably also, instead of reducing the scale, I will just remove the lock here, because I want to reduce only the y-axis. And because this texture is shifted, I will also have to reshift it. Oops. There. That's nicer. So maybe this one will be a little lighter. And now we are closer to what we had in our example. Yes. Another thing we can do to add some realism to our texture is to pick the mesh maps, to add some ambient occlusion and dirt in our mesh. So for that, I'm going to click here on texture set settings and click on bake mesh maps. I'm going to increase the resolution to 2000 and then bake selected texture. Okay, so you can see that we added some shadows in our model. And I will also add some nice details with folds. So the folds in this example, we have to be very discreet because this fabric is probably heavy, so it doesn't matter that much. But we can see here on the right chair that it created fold and crease with the fabric. So the one I'm going to use, I made myself, but you can download some. Some are free, some you can buy. You can usually also use the one from ZBrush. So to do that, I'm going to create a fill layer, and I'm only going to keep the height. And no, never mind, not a fill layer, a paint layer. A paint layer, and in my brush, I will put the height here. So I will hit fold because I renamed all my folds I created by naming them fold. This one, I think I bought them, but I will have a look to what I have and maybe put the link if you're interested to get them. So I have many, but I always use the same, which are those four and those one. Those one I probably bought. So I'm going to try with this one to show you. So I click on this one with a paint layer, and this is an alpha brush. and I will raise the height here, which means the brush I have here will create the shape in height in our model. So if I go on the top here, and I will raise and control left click if you want to rotate the brush, and if you click, you can create some shapes, but I don't want the base color, so I only keep the height. There, so it's very subtle. Maybe more height. There. You don't have to add a lot. Maybe that's a bit too much. There. So I usually rotate it. Oops. I usually rotate it. Nope. So it looks more natural. I can even resize it. There. And then you can change to add more variations to it. Nice. We can also add one here, as if it was like, because someone always sit here. So we can take a larger one, like this one, and put it one big here. And because it's the opposite we want, like something deep, we can choose that one, maybe bigger. There. And then we can add more here. So the nice thing about Substance Painter is that it will add those height to our normal map and height map. So the height map, we don't need it in themes, but it will add it to the normal map. For example, if you go here and you hit normal, you can see that what we just drew have been added. So we can also see now that this is a bit too much, even if we don't really see it on the model. It's kind of very obvious when you see here. And I also drew this by mistake, so I can use the eraser to remove it. So if it's too strong, I can just remove the opacity to soften it. Oh no. So can you tell me how you import your Substance Painter texture to Blender? Yes, I will show you. Even if I will also show you a new way I'm doing this, because someone on Tumblr told me about a technique that she used and I love it. So now I changed my way of doing it. So I will show you that step, Jade. So now I'm just softening this by erasing, but with a low opacity, because I don't like this crease. It's too sharp. There. So now I go back to my normal view. Here. Maybe I can lower again those crease. It's a little too much. So I will use my eraser and put my opacity up and I'm going to raise it so it's not too strong. Usually when you can see in the normal map, when it becomes too bright colors, it means it will be very sharp and have a huge effect in game, and it's better if it's subtle, more subtle. Okay. So now that I'm done, and without, sorry, I have now two ways of baking this texture. So in my tutorial, I showed you how we can export to texture and then re-import in Blender and then bake the texture. But I have now a new technique, which is using the 2D view directly. So to do that, I will, there is one piece missing here. There. So to do that, I'm going to hit Ctrl-Shift-E to export texture. I will choose the destination path for my texture. So this will be my folder, textures. So usually in the list you are going to have by default, I am only keeping the base color, the metallic, the roughness, and the normal. All of those three I don't need, so I untoggle them and I click OK. If I open Blender 2.79, I have a file already set up with everything, and I can import my item, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and then I can create, I will create a new material to show you. So I create new. Instead of the diffuse map, I will choose a principal BDSF in the shader. Principal here. Then I will hit Shift A and create texture, image texture, and this color will go to base color, and in this I will put the base color. So if I go in material view, or even the red view, you can see that it has the base color, but now we are going to connect all of the other texture. So Shift A, texture, image texture, this will be for metallic, and this will be in metallic, obviously, and this one needs to be in non-color data. And then Shift A, texture, image texture, and this one will be the roughness, and go in roughness and non-color data. And the last one is the normal, and this one will be non-color data as well, but we'll need also a normal map node. So we put color to color and normal to normal. So in case you want to see everything we can do with the baking, you can watch my other tutorial I just made with the texture view. But my new techniques is to go to Ctrl-Shift-E, export texture, and here in this output template I will choose the 2D view. So by default I will keep the 2000 because, like I said before, Substance Painter is not very good at putting size down. So if I put here 1000, it will be very pixelized. So I usually keep the 2000 and then I will reduce it in Photoshop. So you can see there is only one texture. So I will export it. I will re-import my item because if you remember, we changed the UVs of the pillows here. And then I will open my texture in Photoshop just to reduce the size. Oops, sorry. Textures. So this is my texture, and I will put it to 1024 and save. And I will also create my roughness and normal. So for the normal is missing a lot of information. So let's try it again. So I will go to export texture, and I will put my own settings here, and I will keep only the normal. Export. Yeah, that's better. There. So now we can see that we have the information of the fabrics and also the folder we added manually. So let's go in the channels, and the red goes into alpha and the green goes into red and blue, and resize the texture in 1024, and we save it in DDS. Okay. For the roughness, I invert the colors by hitting Ctrl I, and then put the mode color in RGB, because by default it will be gray. And then the black is the fabric, which is very matte, no shine. The white here is the wood, which can have a little shine. So what I'm going to do is I will hit W to hit the magic wand and select the dark area, and I will put it in very dark blue, and my wood, Control Shift I to invert the selection. My wood I will put a red like this. Then I will hit multiply. I will merge the two layers, and then here I will make sure this is the effect I want. So if you remember my tutorial about specular map, the red is the glossiness, the green is the shininess, and the blue is the reflection. So this is probably too much reflection. I will probably put it down, and the alpha is the the alpha is the strength of the specular. So I can use the original one, for example. I just select and paste in my alpha, and paste there. So because it's all black, it means it will have no specular at all on the pillows, and this is probably too bright because we want the effect on the wood to be more subtle. So I will put it down. Then I have to resize this to 1024 and save it in DDS. There. So back to Sims 4 Studio, I have my item here. I can import my new texture I just created with the 2D view, and you can see it's super realistic. You didn't have to bake, and also the nice thing is that when you bake with Blender 2.79, it will create some very dark black shadows when a part of your mesh will hit another part of your mesh, and with these techniques it doesn't. So maybe the only thing we can probably make better is, I feel that the fabric is a little too sharp, so maybe we can solve this to make it less dark. But ahead of that, I think this object is perfect. Another thing that you can do with the 2D view is you can see how this face, this orientation, is lighter than this one. And the reason of that, it's because it's using the that's my nightmare word, HDRY environment map that you can change here in this display settings. So by default, you can see it's all gray because it's hidden. But if you change this, you can see the environment around it. So by default, it uses the panorama, but you can try and use other lighting. You can even import your own, like I did. This one is the one I usually use because it's very, very gray. The whole process of modeling, I do it in 2.76 because it's more stable and we don't have any problem when importing in Scenes for Studio. But if you want to use the baking, you have to do it in 2.79 because it has the principal BSDF shader, and this shader doesn't exist in the 2.76 version. It only appears at that version. You can also do it in a more recent, obviously, version of Blender, the 2.9, for example. But then if you want to do this, you will have to export and then re-import in 2.7 before importing in Scenes for Studio. So it's kind of, it's probably for people who just learn Blender with the new tutorial and all, they will feel more familiar with the 2.8 or 2.9 Blender, but it will add a step to the creating process. So it really depends on how you feel about that. So then we are going to change the color swatch. I'm going to rename it. So this is going to be Sib Livestream Armchair. I'm going to put the price. How much is this chair? Kind of expensive, probably. 699, very expensive chair. And usually I always put the same description which I have in this little folder. So I just copy paste and it's always the same description with my website. Then I will change the tag. So this is chair, okay. It has energy, it can be scratched by pets, sure. I can add the colors, especially with the new home decorator. If you use the color for your item, it will works better when you do a renovation of the room. So I will add white and light brown for the wood. And then in the warehouse, I am going to change the normal map by replacing my own, like this, and the specular map. I will also remove all the occluder because I hate occluders. Occluders are creating shadows around the object. So especially if you change completely the shape from the original EA, I really recommend to remove them all. You can edit them, but kind of difficult and a bit useless. But if you want to do it, you can do it. So now we need to do the lower version for, how to say, the less polygon version. So LOD means level of details, and basically when you will zooming out in game, or if people are playing with lower spec, they will have a lower version of your item. This is very important step to do because even if you feel that it's not useful, and it's always useful, you don't know what computer people are using when they are using your CC if you aim to share it. So it's very important to do. We're also going to need to do the shadow load because the shadow load will be the shadow on the floor, obviously. But also if you're doing, if you're playing with ISIS AO, which is ambient occlusion in game, you will have a very strong outline around your item. So how do you do that? I will go back to my item in 2.76, and for the shadows, I just remove all the drop shadows, and this item I will put the 0 to the cut, and that's it. That's the only thing you have to do, and save as. And I will rename it shadow. Now I go Ctrl Z to go back to my steps, and then this one I will have to what we call decimate it. So if you're super lazy and you don't want to work too much, you can use the decimate modifier, but I don't like it at all because it will just reduce the polygon. Okay, so I hit 0.5, which means it will reduce it by half, but it will create sometimes some holes in your models. It will also create some very weird shadows because you don't really choose exactly where you remove the polygons. So this you can use if you're desperate, if you want to earn time, if you have a super high polygons item you just bought and you want to convert it. But this is definitely not clean at all. So what I recommend is going to edit mode and remove ring loops. So to do that, you are going to click here on the edge selection, and I'm just going to remove anything that is not indispensable. So for example, I can remove this one. I select them by hitting at right click and then edge loops, and it will keep my shape by removing those loops, and the basic shapes of my item won't change, and you can see the polygons are dropping. So you don't have to be you don't have to remove too much, but there are a lot that you can. Probably this one, edge loop. We are 700. So usually what you are going to aim is the medium should be half. So in our case, maybe 6 something. And if there is a low one, you can go a quarter. But sometimes it won't be possible because it will just destroy your item. So just lower it as much as you can, and that will be enough. So I think I'm just going to keep it that way. 700 is okay. So I'm going to save as and rename it medium. And then I create the shadow mesh also for the medium. So I remove the drop shadows and put the cut to 0. Save as medium shadow. So now I can replace medium and shadow and medium shadow. If we had changed the shape a lot, we could click on edges footprint to fit mesh, but because this is exactly the same shape, we won't change the footprint. So now we are done with these swatches. Now I'm going to show you this item in-game, but obviously you can create more swatches here. You can either directly change the settings here, or you can duplicate the layer if you want to keep trace and add some other colors to it if you want. So just for the purpose of this tutorial, I will create just a second one. To not override the previous texture, it's better to rename it. So I just call it 2 and export texture, 2D view, export, and then I just resize it in Photoshop. And import my new texture, PNG, that way. So you can see the lighting changed because I changed the environment, and this lighting is probably less dramatic, it's probably better. So I'm going to create one with this one too. Doop, doop. There. So now I'm going to save I'm going to paste my file in my mods folder and launch the game. So I have this slot, which is my test slot. I probably have something already in it. I like the lot in Wonderbook because the lighting and the view, the sea view is very nice for screenshots usually. So let's see the results. So I'm going in build mode. There, it's very nice. So you can see here, I'm going to put the second one. If we zoom in, the texture of the fabric is a little bit in relief. We have a little bit of shine on the arm where are the woods. Can probably lower the lines though. I think the line are a bit too strong. So I think I need to add a door if I want them to come in. And some stairs. There. And I'm gonna ask her to try and test our armchair. Perfect. There you go. We have a super nice chair. So now that this tutorial is over, I'm going to publish it on YouTube so you can rewatch it, you can redo it, and I will also put a link with the armchair I just made. And if you have any question, you can ask in the comments. You can also join my Discord, where there is a special channel where all the creators are helping each other. You can ask questions, and you can also subscribe if you want to see more tutorial. And the next tutorial I'm going to publish is about the unwrapping process, where I will explain everything, how to do it, especially on complicated items. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I thank you very much for being here and see you next month. Bye.